Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Ashley. It is awesome to be back with you here today. So if you don't know me, I am a life coach. I'm an author. I have a book coming out soon called Change Your Mind to Change Your Reality, How Shifting Your Thinking Can Unlock Your Health, Your Relationships, and Your Peace of Mind. And let's see what else. I'm also a yoga teacher. I own my own yoga company called Unite by Yoga. And more housekeeping stuff. Oh, if you head over to changeyourmindtochangeyourreality.com, you can download my free PDF guide. So it's going to help you create, design, manifest the life of your dreams and get started doing it in as little as a week. You do have to sign up for my newsletter to get access to it, but I will not spam you. I'll probably send you a message like a year from now, like, hey, my book is available for pre-order. Like, here's a discount on private coaching, but I'm the marketing team. This is not some big scheme. I just want to keep in touch with you. So don't forget to follow me, subscribe, like this, give me a great rating, and more people can get access to this information. So today we're going to talk about a topic that I love talking about. It's about past life regression hypnosis. It's about reincarnation, and it's about why we're really here on planet Earth right here, right now. So a big inspiration for a lot of this is a woman named Dolores Cannon. So if you've never heard of Dolores Cannon, first of all, like, go order some of her books and listen to them or read them. But she was a really big inspiration for me. So Dolores Cannon was a hypnotist. She was a very famous hypnotist at this point. And she was like a regular hypnotist. She would just, help people to quit smoking or quit clenching their jaw, biting their nails. And her and her husband worked together. And one day they were regressing a patient, and the patient accidentally slipped into a past life. Whoa, right? So they kind of went with it and like led the patient through this whole experience. And pretty soon Dolores figured out how to regress people into past lives. And she, over time, developed her own hypnosis technique. It's called QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And you can go get it today. Dolores has passed it on, but she trained many, many people. There's a QHHT official website. Her daughter, Julia, runs the whole thing now. There's trainings. You can become certified. I myself have gotten 2 QHHT sessions in my life, and they were just incredibly healing and life-changing. There's like a whole list of practitioners, but anyway, I'm like not even affiliated. I just love the work that they're doing. So Dolores wrote, I think it was 18 or 19 books. A new one just came out last year, so we might be up to 19 now. So she wrote 19 books chronicling her sessions. So her books are literally just the transcriptions of her sessions. So it's like Dolores says this, patient or client says this, and they are fascinating. So for the first, however many years, the patients regressed to past lives on Earth. But over time, they started regressing to past lives as other beings in other dimensions, on other planets, even inanimate objects sometimes. And those books are fascinating. If you want somewhere to start, my personal favorite is called Between Death and Life. And it's kind of the topic of what we're going to talk about. But it's all about the hypnotist patients that regress to the place between lifetimes and what they reported there. Another really great one is called The 3 Waves of Volunteers in the New Earth. If you're into UFOs and aliens, there's Keepers of the Garden and the Custodians. And then if you just want to like totally have your mind blown, there's the Convoluted Universe series 1 through 5. There's also ones about discussions with Nostradamus, ones about discussions with Jesus, and they're all incredible. Anyway, done geeking out about Dolores, kind of. So, what I really love about her technique and her stories is that all of these patients that she hypnotized came from different walks of life, right? They had different religious backgrounds. They were different ages. They had different nationalities, came from different countries. They had different sets of beliefs, of morals, of values, but they all reported similar things when they were under hypnosis. And a lot of what they reported can be corroborated with other spiritual and historical accounts that I've read. So, it feels like there's truth to all this. So if you're sitting there thinking this is just like total BS, let me tell you my story. So I have so many stories just from my 2 sessions that I got, but this one's really cool. So the way that a QHHT session works is you're with the practitioner for like 5 hours or something. It's like a day commitment or half day commitment. And they spend time talking with you, and then they take you through 2 past lives. And then they ask your personality to recede and the subconscious, what Dolores called the subconscious, to come forward. So I think of this more as my higher self, your higher self. It's a universal consciousness. You could call it whatever you want. Dolores didn't have a name for it back in the day, so she called it the subconscious, but it's more, it's all knowing. It has all knowledge about you, about everything that ever was and ever is and ever will be. So in my second session, I asked the practitioner beforehand if she could have the subconscious do a body scan on me. So a body scan in a QHHT session is when your higher self, or this SC, the subconscious, as Dolores called it, would scan your body and see if there was any diseases or illnesses or anything that you're not consciously aware of that like maybe you should be aware of. So I had that happen. I had that done, the body scan. And the SC said that there was a lump in my left breast. And when I was saying this under hypnosis, I felt like this tingling in a certain part on my left breast. And the SC said, like, you don't have to worry about it, though. It's going to resolve itself on its own. You just have to stick to your mission, stop getting caught up in earthly drama, like these messages for me. And, it was kind of weird, but it was like, okay, I wasn't too worried. I was told it would resolve itself, like, don't stress about it. And after the session, I was so excited to tell my husband all about the session, all about my past lives, all about these just amazing revelations that I had, right? I went in with these questions like, why are these specific things happening right here, right now in my life? And then I was shown these past lives that are connected to why I'm going through what I'm going through. And then in the end, I was telling my husband, I was like, oh yeah, this other thing kind of happened, like this lump on my breast, right? And he didn't take it so lightly. He was like, you need to go to the doctor. You need to get that checked out. Like, early detection is everything with this. Like, that is not something to mess around with. Like, go get this checked out just in case it's real. And so I made an appointment with a women's health clinic at my local hospital, and, not really expecting anything. And the doctor was giving me a breast exam, and she got to that same part where I felt the tingling. And she was like, I don't feel a lump, but it feels kind of like crunchy here. Like the tissue feels different. I'm going to send you upstairs for a mammogram. And I was like, right now? And she was like, yep, right now. I just put it into the computer, like, go upstairs right now before they close. So I'm like, okay. So I'm waiting for the elevator and texting my husband, and he's like, are you okay? And I didn't even have time to answer because the elevator doors open, and I'm like looking at this front desk. And long story short, got the mammogram, but it was a 2-part thing. So the first thing I had to do was the mammogram that day, and then they were going to schedule an ultrasound for the next week. So the mammogram came back normal, but my breast tissue was very dense, so they couldn't really see much. So, we kind of like sighed this relief, but we were still waiting for this other test to be done, the ultrasound, the next week. And I'm sitting in the ultrasound, and you can see the computer screen, and the technician that's doing it, there's like this big black dot on the screen, and the technician like circles it on the screen. And I'm like, oh God. So the doctor comes in, and she's like, basically tells me that I have this lump there, but that it's benign. And I think she said it was like fibrocystic tissue that grew together to form like a mass. And she was like, it's fine. It's benign. Like, get it checked every once in a while, but it's fine. Like, don't stress about it. So holy shit, right? I remember texting Shane from the car, and he was like, that's insane. Like, if that part's true, all of it has to be true. And that's kind of how I felt too. Not that I ever doubted it in the first place, but, for all those cynics out there, that was a story that like really convinced my husband. And like, if I needed any convincing, which I don't think I did, that kind of pushed me over the edge. So all of these hypnosis subjects that Dolores regressed, especially in the book Between Death and Life, which again is about the place between lifetimes, they all reported that Earth is a school. So it's a school, and we're here right now to learn how to manipulate energy, AKA how to use the law of attraction. And if you don't know what that is, go listen to my past podcasts or YouTube videos. However you're watching this right now, I've been talking about the law of attraction. So, you know, there are infinite number of schools in infinite number of dimensions and planets and just realities. And we're constantly leveling up, right? You know, if we don't, we're here to learn lessons. And if we don't learn the lessons that we're here to learn, we reincarnate again into a similar lifetime on Earth. And then once we've passed that, we move on to the next. So once you're in higher levels of dimensions, what you manifest immediately becomes true in your reality. So if you manifest something bad, that's terrifying because it's going to immediately appear. Like if you think something negative and it immediately happens in your life, that's like a really scary thought, especially because psychologists say that most humans have 70% of our thoughts are negative and redundant. So that's like a pretty terrifying thing to think about. So we're here right now in this 3D plane to learn how to use this, where there's like that little bit of wiggle time between what you're thinking and it manifesting into your reality. So, cat and dog drama in the other room. So let's see, you know, there's all sorts of ancient texts and religions that support this. Greg Braden writes in, what is it called? The Isaiah Effect, about how the Isaiah scroll, which is the most preserved scroll in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the ancient Essenes who wrote that talk about using this power, right? They call it prayer. So some people call it prayer, some people call it manifesting, you can call it law of attraction, you can call it whatever you want, but it's ancient sacred knowledge. And we're all connected. That's what else it said, right? We're all connected. We're connected to the earth. And Dolores's subjects said that we all come from the same thing. We are all pieces of the same. Now, you can call that whatever you want. You could call it source, you could call it universe, life force, energy, God, you know, it doesn't matter what you call it. There is a higher intelligence out there. So I like to call it source. That's what works best for me. So, you know, this source, we're all pieces of it, and source wants to experience life. So he or she or it, whatever, breaks off into trillions of souls and sends these souls out into these worlds to have these experiences and bring them back to source. So again, like as we go through these worlds, are like schools, right? We're constantly learning, we're constantly leveling up, and we're climbing this ladder back to source. And there's no rush, by the way. Like if you fail, quote unquote, fail the lessons in this lifetime that you were meant to learn, or the lesson that you're meant to learn, you get infinite number of chances. You know, there's a lot of souls that are stuck in this kind of karmic loop on Earth, reincarnating. And that's okay, because the pace that you're moving at is perfect, right? Exactly as you are perfect. You're worthy, you're deserving of love. This is not a competition. There's infinite number of souls behind you. There's infinite number of souls ahead of you, all on this ladder back to source, and then back out into the worlds again, right? So that's kind of what reincarnation is. So when it's time, when you're in between lifetimes and it's time for you to reincarnate into another lifetime, you help to pick the life that you're going to incarnate into. You work with your spirit guides, you figure out what lessons you still need to learn, what lessons come next, and you set up circumstances that are going to help you learn those lessons. So, you know, you pick the family that you're born into, you pick the country, you pick your race, you pick your avatar, right? It's like a video game. You pick your avatar, you pick your level of difficulty, you pick a couple big life circumstances, like how you're born, how you're going to die, and then some big like curveballs that life throws your way, and maybe amazing curveball too that life throws your way, that all these things kind of like ready the soil and plant the seeds. And then it's up to you if you grow, because there's still free will, right? And, you know, a lot of people have a really hard time with that whole idea that they create their life circumstances. I have a whole chapter on addressing that in my book, and I'll get into that in a later video for sure, because I have a lot to say about it. Where was I? Let's see. Oh yeah, so another really cool concept is the idea that you're not a complete and whole soul right now as you are watching this video or listening to this podcast. You are a fraction of a soul. So, you know, like I said, Source sent us here to have all of these experiences. Now, you would have experiences living just one life, but if you were living multiple lives at once, you would have that many more experiences to pull from. So there are, I don't want to say infinite, but many, many, many timelines happening simultaneously, parallel lives with you as the lead actress or actor. So anytime you've had to make a decision, you make the decision that you made, but there is some other version of you that made the other choice. And then as those two different versions kind of split off and followed those different paths, those become new paths in a timeline. So those become their own timeline. And then when each of those versions needs to make a new choice, those versions split off into new timelines. So you can see how this just branches out, right? And there's some timelines out there that are very similar to the one you're living. And then there's some that are just totally, totally different because they've just gone so far off from the choices that that version of you has made. So there might be versions of you where you died as an infant. There might be versions of you where you live to be 100 years old and everything in between. There are versions of you out there that have exactly what you want. There's a version that's with your ex still. There's a version that's married. There's a version that's single. There's a version that has kids. There's a version that doesn't. There's a version of you that took that leap of faith that you were too afraid to go for. There's a version of you out there living your dream job right now that, maybe you're too afraid to go after. So it's kind of comforting in a way, right? Knowing that there's this other version of you out there that has the thing you want and that it is attainable. Yeah, so quantum physics even kind of says this. It says that the universe exists as all of these overlapping possibilities, and that every single choice you could possibly make, every single choice lies out there in the quantum realm in a state of rest, just waiting to be chosen. Waiting for you to use the law of attraction to call that version into your reality. You have this power. It is a power. You have this control. So quantum physics also tells us that the world is made up of tiny packets of vibrating light, which are called quanta. So some of these vibrating light, some of this quanta vibrates at a slower speed. And that looks like our rocks, our minerals, right? That's like that solid, more dense, slow vibration. And then the quanta that's vibrating at a little bit quicker speeds manifests as living things on our earth, plants, animals, human beings. Above that, there's quanta vibrating at even a higher speed, and that's our television signals, our radio waves. And cosmologists now believe that over 90% of the universe, when the Big Bang happened, over 90% of the universe vibrated into higher states of expression past our 3D reality. Over 90%. And quantum physicists believe that that's where parallel timelines exist. So quantum physics backs up, in a way, what Dolores Cannon uncovered through her hypnosis sessions. And it's pretty incredible to think about. So I think I've said this before, but the human eye can only pick up 0.0035% of the light spectrum. So that's less than 1%. So that means over 99% of our world is unseen. Like, we literally can't see it. Who's to say that these other timelines, these other dimensions aren't just laid on top of ours, like transparencies? Remember transparencies back in school with the overhead projector? So yeah, all of these other parallel timelines can exist. And all of this is to just bring it back and say that you are powerful. You have this tool, this law of attraction, right? This ability to manifest into your life whatever it is you like. And there's so much more going on than we realize, right? Humans and life on earth, there's meaning here. We are here for a purpose. We are here to learn, we're here to grow, we're here to have experiences, we're here to expand. And then we move on, and then more souls come in, and it's just this beautiful cycle that happens. And people, you walk past like any random table at a restaurant or like a cafe, and overhear conversations, and people's thoughts and their conversations get so wrapped up in their very like 3D world, right? They're complaining about all the annoying people they have to come across as they run their errands, or their jobs, or their paycheck, or their bank account, or the check engine light that's on in their car, or how many likes they're getting on social media, or they're trying to decipher that text from their crush, or the latest celebrity gossip. Like, oh my God, how many times have you heard about Will Smith and Chris Rock this week? And it seems like people aren't really having the big conversations like life and death and aliens and the universe and wisdom teachings and just all of these other things, right? People are not here to just live a rat race and die, right? People get so caught up in the work, sleep, entertainment, eat, spin cycle that they don't really question the bigger picture, why we're here, what's going on. That's what I love to do. That's what I love to talk about. So again, subscribe for more. I love talking about this stuff. I'll let you know when my book's available for pre-order. For now, sign up for my newsletter at changeyourmindtochangeyourreality.com. Once you do, you'll get a free PDF guide. And thank you for being